In this video, I'm going to walk you through an estate sale. If you've never been to one, I highly suggest you find one in your area and check it out. There's always great stuff to flip there. I also have a separate video made of the full haul I got from this sale. So come follow me through this estate and I'll give you some insight of what an estate sale is like. Stay tuned. This is a shot of the front of the house. I was the second person in line. There was only a couple people there after me. This was a day after the last day. They had so many things they were allowing dealers, really anybody, to come show up and buy more. So they've let us go, and I never saw these 2 log cabins in the back. The day before I saw everything in the tent and in the house, but I never saw these cabins. I was going to walk up there and check those out. Before you go to an estate sale, always read the rules that the company is having about the estate sale. Sometimes you need to sign a sheet that's left on the porch, and depending on where you are on that sheet is when you go in. The very first time I saw that, I signed maybe like the 9th spot, and I didn't get to go in until a little later. And I like to be number 1 because you can find the best. We get your choice of the best stuff first. But it all depends on the company having it. I've only seen a few lists like that from one particular company. Most of the time it's first come, first serve. So show up early. You will definitely learn that estate sales are they have big followings. And it's really neat to listen to what people are talking about while you're waiting in line. You can hear what they're waiting for. And there's always some collectors looking for vinyl. You'll see the vinyl dealers show up. It's just pretty neat to hear everyone talk about them. See the bag in my hand? I always bring a reusable bag with me so I can carry my items in it. Sometimes they don't allow book bags, but you can have something to grab and put your items in. That way you won't have a handful and need to go put it at the holding table and someone's getting the other things in the room that you may need or that you may want. I didn't see anything up on that last cabin. Checking out everything here in the back, and I didn't see anything here. It had been picked over, and these kind of reminded me of my grandparents' place when they were still alive. They were Great Depression survivors. They were farmers, and they always told me they never felt like they were poor. They grew their own food. They didn't have a lot of material, but they were happy and healthy. And it just reminded me of everything they used to have, like planters and pots and chairs and just tools. Nothing of resale value to me, but definitely maybe some sentimental to someone of a different time period. I really wanted that metal shelving to expand my inventory with, but I don't think it was complete. I definitely kept giving it a second look. Those metal racks were about $100 or over at Lowe's or Walmart. I was really interested in those. Now here in this room or this log cabin, there were lots of antique type items. I don't know much about antiques. There's a lot of furniture. You'll definitely see furniture at good prices at estate sales. There were a couple tables I had seen. There's one, that larger round table. They wanted $295 for that, but it was 75% off. And it was a really neat antique table. If I needed one, I'd have gotten it, but I've already got one like that in my kitchen. I do like several pieces of antiques. My mom and my grandparents were kind of collectors, so those things are sentimental to me to have, just older type items that remind me of my childhood. And as you can see on those shelves, there's candle holders and lights and just glass for lanterns, dishes, things that older people collect. Definitely were a part of this estate sale. Now this stove, they wanted $900. After 75% off, that would be like, what, $225? That's a steal. That blue color is definitely something someone would have wanted, and that man was interested in it. Or I would have tried to grab it too. I really didn't have a way to get it home. That was one of the first things that sold because it's definitely unique, and those have a collector following. Found these old toys. When I'm looking at dolls, I never really know what type of era they're from unless there's a stamping, and I think I did see Mattel on this. I didn't know anything about it to search. The pull string didn't work, so in the end I said, never mind. And I'm always weary of pulling or using functions of an older doll because I'm afraid I'll be the one that breaks it. Might have been worth something, but I don't know. There's a Cabbage Patch I just passed there. I've rarely seen Cabbage Patch go for something or go for anything worthwhile, but there are worthwhile Cabbage Patch dolls to pick up. So I say check them. You never know. I didn't care. Now into this tent. This thing was packed. I can't imagine this house having everything in it. There was a basement, so I'm assuming it came out of that. They had dishes and plates and a lot of old collectible bottles, jars, tools, plates, bowls, if I said that already. There's so many things. Old bottles are worth something. Lots of times I find they're only worth $5 or $6. Just depends on the era. So I've skipped those. I found a lot of bottles from my grandparents a long time ago and discovered only certain ones sell. Now here's something I did get. Here's a box of old yo-yos. I figured for $3 a piece I could make them a better deal. I ended up getting them for $15 for the whole thing. Haven't gone through them yet, but I know I'll get my money back out of that. I'm checking a few of them out on eBay, and I don't really find anything, but I know it's a project for later to really go through them all. I also got this box of NASCAR driver cereal boxes. They're from the 90s, I believe, but there's a lot of Dale Earnhardt, and Dale Earnhardt around here is very much a respected figure, putting it lightly. I'm looking at the comps here. They are full boxes, but what I have are empty and folded. I'm sure I can sell several in a lot and definitely make a little bit of money off those. This household apparently had Bell South or AT&T employees because there were so many phone items. New in the box phone items, used phone items. There's the pile I've started. You got to watch your pile. Sometimes people start going through it. That item ended up going for, or it sells for around 120 or so. That was a pretty cool find. Some type of old business phone line. And if you like digging, estate sales can be a great spot to dig because people just put things in the box and you never know what you're going to find. I did a lot of digging this day. Here's another new in box phone system, checking that one out, making sure it's brand new. And I was amazed that they have this old phone, several old phones, still in plastic. That's going to come home with me too. Back again. I found these old recipes. I found out that people will buy old recipes from a long time ago. They looked old. I don't know how old they are, but for the cheap price I'm paying, I figured I'd give it a shot. I have found old cookbooks, like old church cookbooks, that I think they span 1972 or 74 to 1995. And I sold those for $90. I got those for $10 total. End up selling them for a pretty good profit. This was interesting. It was a catalog of telephones. Bell South was a part of the telephone conglomerate that was broken up because of like a monopoly rule or something like that. But I've sold catalogs of record players and audio equipment for decent money. Usually you don't get them for, you don't pay very much, but it looked like this guy was a collector because there was like X's on some of the phones. Like he had that one or had that one. And I thought about getting it, but at the same time I said, there's so much more here. I'll wait. It'll be probably something I sit on for a long time. But you can sell old catalogs. So I'm finding more electronics here, more phones. I did get the one in my hand because it was in good condition. The others looked like some water damage on the front. Just start pulling this out. Just some type of old phone system. Some of these older electronics don't have part numbers, so I don't really know where to start. If I get an inkling of a part number or it looks like it's a usable item, I'll go into research. This looked like it was like a business install kind of thing, or maybe a home phone, but it was just so much mess, I decided to leave it. More phone equipment. I never found out what this was. It was some type of electronic board and a battery or whatnot. Looked like it was never been used, but I don't think it was complete. I looked up a couple part numbers on the item. I couldn't find anything that matched. So I just decided I was wasting my time and to abort mission. So back to the tables. All types of little collectibles and dishes and knickknacks. At some point in here, I found some old milk caps. They were old cardboard milk caps for milk bottles that we don't have anymore. It's all plastic now. But at a time there used to be, that's a neat pig. I was attracted to the color. There used to be a time when milk bottles had older lids, and those can be collectible. Lots of little porcelain figures. I did go home with these, just, I guess. I think I've got both of those listed for $15 on Mercari, free shipping. I didn't pay anything hardly for them, so just get an idea, something to learn a little bit more of, see if there's any attraction to it from buyers. They were from Japan. You'll tend to go to these older estates and find old porcelain or old glass. I know some of that Japanese porcelain is valuable. I'm not sure what. This is interesting. This little mouse I found in a bag. I just typed in wooden mouse pin and bam, the first thing that came up was exactly like it. They had different colored eyes. There was like a green. I think I got a green and a red, but there was like a black and I think a silver out there. I thought that was pretty neat. The first thing I searched, there it is, the results. And at some point in here, I have lost the milk caps in my hand. I don't know where I put them. They're somewhere on that table still. And this is why you dig. I move things around. That's when I discover, hey, there's Dale Jr.'s car back there. Gave the label a scan. I think that's what made me discover, hey, it'll sell. Oh, these are the encyclopedias. Okay, so let's talk about the encyclopedias. They will sell. You may have to wait a little bit, but if you have a nice area to store them in, you may find you've got some interesting encyclopedias that people want. These are older, I think 62, 3, or 4. And I'm looking through the pages to see if they are plastic or I don't know the exact term for them. But there are these plastic pages that will be in some older encyclopedias that give like an overlay of a body or a frog. I had someone ask me for the letter F in my old books that I had, and he was looking for an overlay of a frog. And you'll also find people's artwork and projects in encyclopedias. You never know what people are going to put inside books. Maybe you'll find some money. But in this case, I'm looking for the plastic pages that overlay of body parts. They seem to be more an anatomy or maybe maps or really an anatomy of anything. Oh, there we go. Those right there are sellers. And if you can find books with those in them, definitely photograph them and show your buyers they're in them. One thing I find at estate sales a lot are books. You'll see the Amazon sellers scanning them to try to sell them on Amazon. I personally have found some pretty good stuff. My favorite thing I've ever found is a 1915 Carolina yearbook from UNC Carolina. It was incredible to look back in the past that long ago and see how that school operated, what the people looked like, what they were doing. I think I sold it for maybe $130 or $115, but it was such a cool find. That's one of the reasons I recommend estate sales, because you can find some old things because people have been collecting their whole life. Now look at these frames. I sat there and looked at these frames thinking, I know I can do something with them, but it would require me holding them and storing them, and I don't have any room. They were really antique, unique frames in this collection, and I can just see someone repurposing them for their projects, or maybe they would flip them themselves, but I was really giving these things a look. But in the end, I decided I don't want to deal with things I'm sitting on for a long time. I called my mom to say, you need to take a look at this place, because she's a big repurposing fan and she does furniture. And she actually bought this piece here. Very antique and unique. And I was also wondering behind some of these paintings, I wonder what kind of paperwork or writings that might have been stored behind them. But I don't even know where to go. I'm just so overwhelmed. I was kind of looking for magazines at this point. I think I started finding some magazines and publications. You can make some good money off older magazines. You kind of get a feel of what's going to be a seller and not by doing this long enough. I know Time magazines only have really certain issues that will resell, so I really don't look at Time unless they're really old, like 40s and before. Just newspapers, there's so many old newspapers out there. Not everything is collectible. Now this, I believe, was a Bob Timberlake. He's a local artist my mom collects. So I was looking for a signed area, a numbered area, but unfortunately it was just a matted print. And originally it was $8 too. I saw the price on the back. So this is one of those things that just jumped out at me. It's like, what is this? It's a box of solder. So this just jumped out at me. It's a box of solder. I knew you can recycle metals, and I know copper is expensive. So just in my mind, I thought, I wonder what it would cost to buy this. I've never seen a bar of solder. I always see the little wrapped, coiled up spool of it. And it turned out I saw some of this had sold for $60. They wanted 60 here, but since I was getting 75 off, that would cost me 15. It's really heavy, but I figured someone would want it because there was a previous sale. It was just interesting. It just jumped out at me. I did take this old Carolina soda bottle or can as well. I figured I could clean it up. It is really nasty on the bottom, but I just kind of grabbed it to see what I could do. Now inside the house, I didn't go too far in here with my camera on because my battery was dying. I had this little pile. There is the pine cone tree I picked up. That's a Shirley Temple doll or porcelain doll and a vintage curling iron. That sold really quickly. And you'll see my pile here in a second of how much I pulled out of here. Boom. Pretty good haul there. You know, one thing that really strikes me about estate sales, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I walk around this person's house and I'm seeing their lifetime collection, and it makes me think, this is what's going to happen to my own stuff maybe. We can only have so many things that our family members care about. Lots of our stuff will be ending up just like this, for sale to the highest bidder. And that sometimes just makes me sad. I think all that's left is for me to purchase my items and haul them back to my car. So I hope you enjoyed this walk through an estate sale. I highly suggest you go check those out in your area. Let me know what you find. I'd love to hear about it. Happy hunting and have a great flipping day.
I'll get it, okay?
I'll take it, but you can do it.